the Padres are kind of going crazy right now. They traded for Blake Snell and Yu Darvish in a 24-hour time period. And as San Diego's finally cashing in on all the prospect capital they've been hoarding for the past few seasons, they traded it for probably the best pitching staff in baseball at this point. But what prospects have they lost in that process? Have they done irreparable damage to their long-term organizational health? And not even close. So over the next 2 days, we're going to talk about who they traded away in these two huge blockbuster trades. Why maybe the returns weren't quite as lucrative as some people might expect. Today we're going to be talking about the Rays trade for Blake Snell. In exchange for Snell, the Rays received pitcher Luis Patiño, catcher Francisco Mejia, catcher Blake Hunt, and pitcher Cole Wilcox. Both Pettino and Mejia have been floating around top prospect lists for a few years and have at least a little bit of major league experience, and Pettino is unquestionably the headliner in the trade. If Hunt and Wilcox, on the other hand, are basically unknown to you, I don't blame you, but they both have interesting potential upside as well, and we'll dive into that in a little bit. So first, on to the headliner of the trade. Luis Patiño is a 21-year-old righty. He's currently ranked number 23 on MLB's official prospect rankings and number 10 on Fangraph's updated prospect rankings. And they cite him as one of the most exciting young arms on the planet. His marquee pitch is a mid to high 90s fastball with sharp leg movement and elite spin rate, and he supplements it with a wipeout high 80s slider. His third pitch is a changeup that isn't extremely successful yet, but scouts project it'll develop into an above-average off-speed pitch. Patiño's been successful in 3 seasons in the minors. He's a 2.35 ERA and a 10.7 K per 9 in 234 innings through AA. He also appeared in 11 games in the majors last season, and he had a solid 10.9 Ks per 9, but also gave up 7 walks per 9 and 3 home runs in just 7 innings. Good for a 5.19 ERA and a 5.6 FIP. If absolutely everything pans out for Patiño, he could actually end up better than Blake Snell. And of course he's cheap and he comes with 6 years of control, so there are other upsides as well. With all that being said, though, Pettino needs to figure out his control issues that have been an issue for him in the minors, and they came to head in a short major league stint. A more likely outcome for Pettino's is a solid number 2 starter, and a potential comp for that would be Luis Castillo, with more of a fly ball-based batter ball profile as opposed to Castillo's ground ball-based profile. This makes Pettino an extremely high-value asset and one that can definitely help the Rays rotation as early as 2021. He was, after all, ranked number 2 in an absolutely loaded San Diego farm system, and Fangraphs has him as the 3rd best pitching prospect in baseball. It's more likely, however, that Pettino will start 2021 in AAA, with some spot starts here and there, and his first full season will be in 2022. We'll move on now to Francisco Mejia, who's a former top 50 prospect, but sort of positionless switch-hitting catcher the Padres acquired in the Brad Hand trade in 2018. Mejia hasn't hit very much in parts of 4 seasons in the majors, but his bat still profiles to be above average if he can stick a catcher long-term, with low strikeouts and about average power. What's held him back is an abysmal walk rate, with just 20 walks in 362 career plate appearances, and his inability to frame or block behind the plate. Mejia has an absolute cannon for an arm, but that's just about his only positive defensive asset, making some scouts concerned he'll be moved to third base or the outfield relatively soon. Mejia's bat profiles to be more average if he's moved away from catching, so the Rays will definitely try him behind the plate, especially since their starting catcher Mike Zunino is leaving in free agency. Mejia's best-case scenario comp could be Wilson Contreras, but a more likely one at the plate would be Kurt Suzuki. If he can learn to be passable defensively behind the plate, then he could be a good everyday player, but it's more likely he'll be more of a bench piece for the Rays. The next prospect we'll talk about is Blake Hunt, who's another catching prospect whose pedigree steadily improved over the course of 2020, enough to crack the top 10 in San Diego's system and possibly the league top 100 next year. He's been above average both at the plate and behind it in 2018 and 19 in A-ball, and profiles as a potential everyday catcher in the majors as soon as 2022. He doesn't have the best tools, but he has good athleticism on defense and quick hands on offense, which should result in decent contact and gap-to-gap power, with good framing and steal prevention. A top-end comp for him could be James McCann. Overall, Hunt is the most exciting prospect, but he has a pretty high floor and he's a strong depth piece in the Rays system, especially since good catchers that are also above average at the plate are extremely rare in the majors today. The final prospect the Rays received and the biggest question mark was 2020 third-round pick Cole Wilcox. Wilcox was the top high school pitcher in 2018, but he chose to go to Georgia for 2 years of college ball, where he found success both out of the bullpen and in the rotation. Although he was a third-round pick, he received a way above slot $3.3 million signing bonus, signaling his projected value among front offices. Wilcox's fastball topped out at a whopping 100 miles an hour while coming out of the bullpen, and he has a good sweeping slider to complement it. While starting, his fastball velocity declined to 93 to 96 miles an hour, but he has pinpoint control from the mound. Wilcox has the velo and the stuff to be a good back-end piece in a bullpen, but without triple-digit heat on his fastball, the pitch's lack of movement could relegate him to a back-of-the-rotation starter if teams decide to use him that way. Similarly to Hunt, Wilcox is a pretty high floor player whose good velocity and control make him a likely major leaguer. But if he wants to be anything more than a middle reliever, adding spin to his fastball and developing a strong third pitch are a logical next step. Tampa's return for Snell was pretty decent, and I have no doubt they shopped him around and got the best deal they could. Snell obviously has an immense value as a cheap team-controlled all-star starter right now, but his market may have been depressed by his 2019 elbow surgery, and more importantly, the fact that a lot of other teams in the market for starters have pretty barren farm systems at the moment. Some of the other big players in a possible Snell trade, like the Twins, Angels, or Mets, just don't have the prospect capital after trading away most of their high-tier prospects or graduating them into the majors. The Padres are realistically one of the only teams with a loaded enough farm system to even make a somewhat fair trade. All in all, in Pettino, they get a top-end prospect with big upside. Mejia is a nice reclamation project, and Hunt and Wilcox are mid-level prospects with high floors only a couple years from the majors. The Padres almost definitely still won the trade, but by no means was it a fleecing. Speaking of fleecings though, tomorrow we're going to talk about what the Cubs got back for Yu Darvish. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one, everybody.